Nice to see you again.
Yeah.
I'm giving you another leg.
Oh, thank you.
So you can have a lot of that to put in your house. You have a lot of this to put on your house.
Oh, yes.
I remember Guam.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Busan, since it was my Aussie. And then of course Terry, my very good friend.
At ease, everyone?
You got it.
Go now.
Hafaday. For our visitors, it's customary when we say Hafaday for you to return the Hafaday in just a spirited a manner. So Hafaday. That's more like it. We're training you for the big day, which is Sunday, July 21st. And this is a banner year for the island of Guam as we prepare to commemorate our 80th anniversary of Guam's liberation from Japanese imperial forces. But before we proceed with those events, I do of course want to recognize our dignitaries in the room, starting with the Honorable Lourdes A. Leon Guerrero, Magahagan Guahan, Governor of Guam. To her left and representing the Mayor's Council of Guam is Sinahanya Mayor Robert Hoffman. Our honored guest joining us this morning all the way from California, but no newbie to Guam, no newcomer to Guam, is 99-year-old Corporal Frank S. Wright, one of our Guam Liberators. And he's been practicing his wave. We practiced before you all arrived. To the governor's right, we also will be introducing her chosen grand marshals for our 80th Liberation event. That's starting with Francisco Leon Guerrero Manabusan. He'll be 92 years old next month, and he was 9 years old at the start of the war. To Mr. Francisco's right, we have Ms. Teresita M. Paulino. She will be 87 years old next month, and also our Grand Marshal for our 80th Liberation event. And so I want to introduce them in a bit. I'll read their bios, but first I wanted to give the floor to our governor for some brief remarks.
Thank you very much, Crystal. First and foremost, I'd like to welcome our visitors from all over the United States and say thank you very much for taking the god-awful number of hours of travel to get here, but still very excited when you arrived, and actually very energetic when you all arrived. And thank you for bringing Corporal Frank Wright back to Guam. And I am very honored and have great respect for your even commitment and willingness to come back here and celebrate our 80 years of liberation. And as a result of many of you, thousands of you that have come and taken back our island from the Japanese Imperial Army, we are what we are today, a free country, a free island, back to peace in our Pacific island, and enjoying the freedoms of democracy. And I know that that is the drive that made you want to become a Marine at the age of 18. I know, but you know, I'm not gonna say 18. Anyway, welcome, Corporal. Very much grateful and appreciate you being here to celebrate our 80th liberation. I also want to welcome our survivors, our war survivors, who have been the victims and the receivers of many atrocities that they have experienced. I know Terry and Mr. Manibusan were 9, maybe 7 years old at the time. But I know that their memories are still very vivid in the experience that they've had. And want to say that we appreciate all the strength and the courage and the values that you have continued to profess to our people and to our island. And most importantly, I believe the peaceful way is your forgiveness, but we will never forget. So thank you for accepting being Grand Marshals at the Liberation Parade. I also want to say with Corporal Wright that we have given him the title of Grand Liberator, and he will be part of the parade also. You don't have to walk the parade, Corporal. You will. We will provide a vehicle for you. And of course, I'd like to thank the mayor, Mayor Robert Hoffman, for his very true work and efforts and hard work to get our Liberation Day festivities going, and also all the mayors that have so much also contributed to the planning and the organizing, and of course our office and staff for the very great, I think, results and outcomes that we're seeing. We have been visiting the sites, memorial sites that have been recognized by our people in our island as a way to give respect and honor back to those who have fallen and those who have suffered the atrocities of war and those who have survived. Yesterday, we gave a big tribute to all the Marines and the military people that landed in Assen Park. And there is a monument there, and we held a ceremony in honor of them and to remember them and to keep them close to us and thank them for the sacrifices that they've made. Of course, Corporal, with leaving family and not even realizing if you will live the next day or even the moment, same as what our survivors suffered too. So I'm looking forward to great celebration. I'm looking forward to great excitement. I'm looking forward to much honor and respect by our people. And happy liberation, happy 80th liberation to all of us and to all who have gotten us to where we are today. Sus Masi.
Sus Masi, and thank you, Governor. Before we open the floor for questions to members of our media, I do want to read the bios of our honored guests today, starting with Corporal Frank S. Wright. Frank S. Wright was born on July 5, 1925 in Arkansas. On January 21, 1942, Wright entered the U.S. Marine Corps by lying about his age. He was 16 at the time and living in Little Rock, Arkansas. He reported to boot camp on January 24, 1942 at the 12th Recruit Battalion, Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Platoon 150 in San Diego, California. He spent 4 years in the U.S. Marine Corps as a member of the 4th Marine Raiders Special Forces with Colonel James Roosevelt as commander. He fought in 4 major battles, traveled between islands on 11 different Navy ships, was wounded by a bayonet in the stomach while recapturing and liberating Guam, and was shot in the chest and arm by machine gun fire on the island of Iwo Jima. He spent the last 6 months of his enlistment at the as a Marine drill instructor training new recruits. Corporal Wright lives in the city of Lodi, California, and he is a member of the Stockton Marine Corps Club as well as American Legion Carl Ross Post 16. Wright's personal awards include a Purple Heart with 2 stars, the Presidential Unit Citation with 2 stars, Navy Unit Commendation, the American Campaign Medal with the Fleet Marine Force with 4 stars, the Marine Corps Expedition Medal, Combat Action Ribbon with 4 stars, the Victory Medal, and the Good Conduct Medal. Corporal Wright has the titles of Marine Raider and Liberator. However, his titles as father, grandfather, and great-grandfather are of the utmost importance to him. And he goes to the pearly gates. He states he will only say to St. Peter, quote, "Just another Marine reporting for duty, sir." So introducing to you, this is Mr. Corporal Frank S. Wright, Guam's Liberator. I now want to introduce you to the gentleman on Governor's right-hand side. That's Mr. Francisco Leon Guerrero Manabusin, the Governor's chosen Grand Marshal for the 80th Liberation Parade. That parade theme is Todo y Tempo y Paz Carajita, peace for us always. Mr. Francisco Leon Guerrero Manabusin will be turning 92 years old next month. His birthday is August 23, 1932. He's married to Elizabeth Camacho Perez. He's a father of 7 children, grandfather of 10 grandchildren, and a great-grandfather of 6 great-grandchildren. Francisco joined the U.S. Air Force in September 1951 and served until his retirement in September 1971 with the United States Air Force Dispensary. His years in the Air Force as a medical corpsman and later as a dental assistant gave him the skills and training he would carry with him into his civilian career with the Guam's Department of Public Health Dental Program. As program director for the Dental Health Education Program with Menilao and Inarajan Public Health Clinics, Francisco met and came to know many of the island's children while training them on the importance of good dental health and practices. That's why he has $1 million smile. Before retiring from the Air Force, Frank always knew he would return to settle in Guam. He and Elizabeth decided to build their home in Palanta Jutnya, where they continued to raise their family. Aside from being a devoted husband, father, grandfather, and great-grandfather, Frank did what he could to support St. Francis Church and the Jutnya community by participating in the various community and church activities throughout the years. In much of his spare time, he enjoys planting and working around his house and his yard. Let's give a round of applause for our Grand Marshal, Mr. Francisco Leon Guerrero Manabusin. Last but not least, I want to introduce you to Ms. Teresita M. Paulino, who will be celebrating her 87th birthday on August 20. She was born 1937. Lots of birthdays. Teresita Paulino was born on August 20, 1937, and she is one of 7 children. Teresita was only 4 years old when Japan invaded Guam in December 1941 during World War II, and she remembers her childhood experience in the concentration camp in Umafit in Alahan. There, people were fishing along the river, and farming became a daily task. The Chamorro people were close-knit during the war, and they helped one another with chores at the campsite under the watchful eye of Japanese invaders. There was plenty of food available, and no one went hungry, and she fondly remembers playing with other children her age. Teresita attended Inarajan Elementary School and graduated from George Washington High School in 1956, and in 1959, Teresita married Jose M. Paulino, who was also from Inalahan, and together they raised 5 beautiful children. Teresita M. Paulino and her public service career began in April of 1959, working as an account clerk at the former administration building in this capital city of Hagåtña. Teresita was employed as an account clerk 1, 2, and 3, and she was promoted to serve as an account 1, 3, and 4, and she held her position of benefits technician supervisor and finally retired as a retirement benefits administrator in 1988 after serving for 32 years with the government of Guam. After retiring, Teresita dedicates her time and energy to engaging in various civic duties and community services over the years. From 1991 to 1994, Teresita worked for Senator Hermina Dueñas-Durkin as a community liaison. From 1995 to 1998, Teresita then worked for Senator Lou Leon Guerrero, now our Governor Lou Leon Guerrero, as a legislative assistant and community service worker. For 6 years, from 2002 to 2008, Teresita worked as a program coordinator under Dr. Ujoa Craig in a special research project. She is also a very active volunteer for the Guam Memorial Hospital Volunteers Association and their fundraising activities. From 2013 to 2016, Teresita was the current president of the Santa Teresita Church Christian Mothers, and she actively goes from house to house on Sundays, making visitations of Our Lady of Fatima, offering prayers and intentions and praying the rosary. Teresita is a devout Catholic, and she gets her strength from God and intends to continue serving our Lord as long as she lives. Let's give a round of applause for Miss Teresita and Paul. As you can see, a lot of our greatest generation in the room, they have a lot of common traits, including their faith, a lot of service to the people of Guam, at least on this side of the table. We want to open the floor now to members of the media for any questions they may have for either our Liberator or our Grand Marshals. PDN, you look like you have a question. Joe Taitano from the PDN.
Morning, everyone. Corporal Wright, welcome back to Guam. How's your reception so far, sir?
How was the reception so far? How do you feel?
Oh, I don't think I have time to tell you, but boy, it is tremendous. Tremendous reception, tremendous people, appreciative. This is something that I've looked forward to for many, many years, but joining up with my fellow brothers and sisters, I want to say thank you for them to make this possible for me to come here and represent our country, to represent our Marine Corps, and say thank you for letting me come here and enjoying my home people again. Judge Gugu was my manufacturer of this particular thing because he asked me that I signed a Guamanian flag on my kitchen table, which I have. So, and I'd love to have more time on it, and thank you for having me here on it, both. Appreciate it, really. And as for the survivors, that's what it's for, to come here, liberate the soils of war, and have them and their families to carry on the tradition of the Chamorros, natives of Guam, and they took me a long way around this island. I have been in places that nobody should really go to, but they transported me along with my fellow warriors, and this has made me honor them. And you can't, I'm going to give you a little secret on it for this right now, heads up on it. This morning I did a little monologue about how I felt in being here on it. And I was talking on it. The photographer noticed I had a flock of butterflies that came up from beneath the patio that we're standing on the 3rd floor on it. And a bunch of butterflies formed up like that. They came up right in front of it like that. And then they went off like that. And boy, now that was a tearjerker. Yeah. It was on it. Now look down below, and there was 2 dogs, dark dogs down on it, 3 stories down on it. And they were sitting there just like they were attending the whole shebang. Now, you know, that doesn't happen. That was planned by the good Lord. I thank E.C. Wright for all that attention that they commanded. Thank you again, and I appreciate my hometown here. I'm sorry about what happened to Agat. That was the one I really liked. But it did. That was the Fortune's Award at that time. Thank you very kindly.
Any other questions from members of our media? Frank.
Corporal Wright, is this your first time back to Guam since you
Yes,
left?
it is.
Wow. Welcome back.
First time on it. It's first time for a lot of things here on Guam. I fished. I fished. But I spent 6 months training for Iwo Jima, and during that time, I was able to coerce some of the people to show me the secret fishing spots. Judge Goku was one of them. And I have pictures of that as well on it. So, but you just, I'm from Arkansas and I love to fish. And he found a weak spot. And that's what I did in my pastime here on it. And it was lovely. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Joe Taitino from the PDN. Frank?
Yes, I was just gonna ask you, what your thoughts were when you came here.
What was that?
Last time you,
What was your impression?
what was your impression? Were you surprised as how
Mission?
big the island is?
I don't think you're right when you arrived on Guam. How did you go to
Oh, yes, well, I'm hard of hearing. And I have to have an interpreter sometimes on it. And I can hardly see on my left eye. And I have to have a little help there. I have a driver's license. And I went to a car show, and the announcer says, "Watch it, Frank's on the road again." But I'm accident-free. Never had an accident in my car. Anyway,
He asked what was your impression of Guam when you arrived? Seeing the buildings, the development?
oh, on here?
Yes.
Well, the first thing on it, I was built. The question was, how did it feel being back in here when I first got here and saw all of these buildings? Oh, you can't believe it, how I felt. I mean, I really felt honored to see all this stuff that has been going on. And the first thing is that I thought I recognized the area which I had been on and crawled in the foxholes and stuff like that on, and I called it Mount Hassan Road. And I was put on in a hotel, and I was on the 3rd floor. I looked down, and I was looking down on the area that the 3rd Marine Division had traveled on. And I just raised my head up and see all this beautiful hotels and restaurants, all like that. And that doesn't just happen, folks. That's planning. And the planning starts at the top. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Corporal Wright. Frank, do you have any follow-up questions?
Thank you.
Any other questions from members of our media?
This might be more for the mayor, but is the title of Grand Liberator new? And can you give us an idea of what their roles will be like during the parade?
Sure, yes, actually the governor created, because we're trying to think of something very fitting to honor. We weren't really expecting any liberators to come back after the 75th because they're already at that age and traveling here is very grueling. So when we got word from GVB that our liberator was coming out, it was a great joy for us as mayors. I've been planning liberations for 20 years. And so when we talked with the governor and she's like, you know what, we're going to make him Grand Liberator. So it's a first for that. And but you know, we're really honoring him because I think the people of Guam, when they see him and just the fact that that interaction brought tears to my eyes, that a liberator is talking to a war survivor, you don't get that interaction anywhere. And we're very fortunate as an island to be as patriotic as we are. And the fact that we celebrate liberation still versus other areas, you know, we always ask our counterparts in other islands if they're having liberations. It's not as celebrated as here. So there's a real love here that we commemorate, we educate, and then we celebrate. And those are the 3 tenets of what we do here as mayors in celebrating this with the administration, is to commemorate, to educate, and to celebrate.
Are there any other questions for members of our media?
I actually have a question for our Grand Marshal, Mr. Manabusa and Ms. Paulino. How does it feel? Could I ask you guys how it feels to be back here 80 years later, sitting across the table from Corporal Wright?
I really feel numb because next month I'll be 87 years old. I'm just so happy to be here, alive, with 5 of our children, my grandchildren, and my great-grand. That's the greatest gift that I inherit, and I'm so thankful to our Lord for what He has given to all of us too. We still have to pick up what we endure at the beginning and never give up, because that's really the message. We have 5 children, and when my husband died, the youngest is 5 years old. Now he's 50, and my oldest will be 65. I just thank God for being here alive and sharing it. It's not easy. It's a really great journey, and it's a lot of ups and downs, but never give up what you have planned, because it's always be a struggle for all of us. But the main thing is you focus on what you're really looking for the benefit of our children. It's not easy, but I'm so happy now that my youngest is 50 and my oldest is 65. So I told them, I'm done, and you still have to keep on working because my time now is limited. I always say limited. Your mom, you're really a great inspiration to all of us. And the main thing is never give up. You're going to endure suffering of ups and downs, but never give up. There's always something that you have to be so appreciative thought about what you have accomplished. And I thank God for everything that has happened. And look at I was only 4 years old when the war in 1941. I was only 4 years old, but I picked it up. And you look around for all the atrocity that has happened, but you have to have a big heart and pick it up and move on to the best of your ability and to the best of what you can really show your children that it's not easy to survive. You're gonna cry a lot, but don't give up. That's the main thing. And I'm so really, this is a shock to me when they called me and said, I don't think I'm gonna make it. But my children wants me to, Mom, this is an honor for you, for all of us to, on this Liberation Day, 80th celebration. Thank you so much.
So for Mr. Manabusin to respond, we're going to ask him to answer in Chamorro, and Governor Leon Guerrero will translate.
I don't know about speaking tomorrow, but it seems like I'm forgetting.
Whatever you feel comfortable with.
To be honest, I always thank the good Lord above to continue giving me the life in this world. And I'm hoping and praying that you give me much more time to meet more people. I don't care where from, here, there, or anywhere. But I love people, no matter who they are. That's the way I feel about people. I always feel good about people, young, old, or so. Again, I look up every now and then, and I really thank the good Lord for that, giving me the feeling of feeling good to people, no matter where they're from, who they are. We're all the same. There's no difference between you and I. We're all people, no matter where we are from. So I thank you, the good Lord, for that. And I love all of you. I love everybody, no matter where they're from. I've been to places and I really enjoyed all the places that I've been to. I've been to quite a few places. I was in France, I was in Germany, and even Japan. But no matter where I go, I always think of people as people, no matter who they are, where they're from. We're all the same. There's no difference. So I look up, like I said, look up every now and then. I thank you, the good Lord, for that, for giving me the strength to be where I am right now. And I am hoping and praying that it will give me much more time so I could meet more people, young or old. I don't care where they're from. We're all the same. There's no difference between you and I. We're all the same. We're all people.
Any other follow-up questions from members of our media? If none, I look forward to seeing you later this week. We do have our Unified Liberation Memorial this Friday and our Liberation Mass. And of course, the big Liberation Day Parade on Sunday, July 21st, along Marine Corps Drive. That starts promptly at 8 a.m. You'll see our Liberator, of course, Corporal Frank S. Wright, our Grand Liberator, Corporal Frank S. Wright, along the parade route, as well as our Grand Marshals for the event. That's Mr. Francisco Leon Guerrero Manabusin, turning 92 years old next month, and of course, Ms. Teresita M. Paulino, to be 87 years old next month. Happy early birthday to you, and happy Liberation, Guam. Viva Guam! Viva! Viva Liberation! Yes, thank you so much. For everyone joining us, please let's do a group photo.